Hello, dear students of Class 8. How are you all? I am a science teacher, DPS sir, from LPM Public School, Gola Bazar, Gorakhpur. Student, as you know, you chapter 13, that is the chemical effects of electric current, is already in process that I have already started in my previous video, and today I am further going to explain about this chapter. So, student, let's start. In case of distilled water, distilled means totally pure water through which the electric current couldn't pass through it. So, in case of distilled water, tap water, sea water, rain water, we know that air is a poor conductor of electricity. Air is a poor conductor of electricity, but during lightning, an electric current passes through air. Thus, under certain condition, most material can conduct electricity. That's why we should classify material as a good conductor. So there are certain material which could carry the electric current, that is called the good conductor, and there are certain material which couldn't carry the electric current, that are called the insulators. So let us just see the water that we get from the source, like tap, the water that we get from the tap, hand pump, well, pond, pool water, these are all not pure, as they contain several salt which makes the water a conductor. So these water contain either small or huge amount of salt in it and makes the water conductor through which the electric current can pass. So we should never handle electric appliances with our wet hand while standing on a wet floor, because you can see such type of water contain salt in it, either it is low or heavy salt, but a small amount of salt also make the water a good conductor of electricity. So seawater containing a large amount of dissolved salt in it. Therefore, conductivity of seawater is more than that of the normal drinking water. So as much as the water is impure because of the salty nature, that much the water could pass good amount of electric current in compare to other water that is not so much saline. Rainwater is said to be pure water. We most properly says that the rainwater is the pure water, but when it enters the atmosphere, it get dissolves small amount of acid in it, and dissolving small amount of acid in that water, it makes the water rainwater a good conductor of electricity. This is advisable for electricians. So it is to be advised by the scientists to the engineers to the electricians not to carry out electrical repairings in the outdoor, okay, on the outdoor area during heavy downpour. If there is a heavy downpour, so don't do any type of electrical works, because through that rainwater electric current could pass and the electricians could get a good electric shock, and it could be threat to his life. Seawater contains large amount of dissolved salt in it. Therefore, continuous seawater is more than that of drinking water. Rainwater is said to be pure water, but it contains, as it comes down, many impurities as well as acid get attached with that rainwater and makes the rainwater a good conductor of electricity. Now, my next topic will be, student, chemical effects of electric current. When electric current is passed through the solution, when an electric current is passed through the solution, you might notice bubbles of gases. So when you will pass an electric current through a normal water, and you will find that that water, the component through which the water is made, that is the hydrogen and oxygen, when you will pass the electric current, the water starts breaking in its two different components of which it is made up of. So, due to the occurrence of chemical change, that means they are occurring a chemical change. So, change in the when electric current is passed to a solution, you might notice certain bubbles coming. This is due to the occurrence of chemical change. Change in the color of solution. Whatever chemical change could might take place, either change in color of the solution, or precipitations and change in temperature. So either the temperature of that water changes and can also be observed because of and can also be observed because of chemical so these all either heating of that water, either breaking of that water particles into its components, okay, either vaporizing of that water. These all things happens only because when the electric current passed through that water and that took place a chemical reaction in that water, and all these three affected we are able to see when an electric current is passed through a water. Now student, chemical effects of electric current, chemical effects of electric current which we are talking about, that I have just told you the chemical effects. When we pass electric current through a water, it might split or break the water into its two components of which it is made up of. Either it will hits the water and you could find the vapor coming out. That is the heating effect, the you can say precipitation effect as well as the splitting effect. These are the effects which occurs when the electric current is passed through the water and there occurs a chemical reaction in it. Now student, electrolysis of water. What is, now the next topic is electrolysis of water. Electrolysis of water means breaking of water. So electrolysis defines the chemical decomposition. This is a chemical method, and when electric current is passed through a water, it observes a chemical change in water. When the electric current passes through it, what will happen? When electric current is passes through it, the the two electrodes that is put inside that electrolyte, and when it is connected with the heavy power cell to let the electric current to flow through that water, and when the electric current passes through that water, we will find gas is liberating out hydrogen and oxygen, which are getting attached with the two electrodes that is dipped inside that water. One is the anode, other is the cathode. Okay, student. So to you can say these gases one by one bringing a burning. Now, after sometimes you will find that formation of bubbles at both the electrode. At both the electrodes, bubbles are just clicking to it. These bubbles are what? These are the proof that the water is getting changed into gaseous form, and this is the gases that is coming out and clicking by the side of these electrodes. So these then test these gases that what these are. So you know very well that the nature of hydrogen gas is that when you will lit a fire and bring it near such gas that is a hydrogen gas, there is a sparkling effect on that. There is a, you will see you can hear a sparkling effect as well as a sound, popping sound starts coming out when you bring a flint of fire near the that electrode on which the hydrogen gas has been collected. And when you will bring a splint, or you can say any burning object near the next electrode at which other gas is being collected, you will find that burning splint will burn more vigorously, as it is a proof that there the oxygen has been collected, and you know very well that oxygen helps in burning. So that's why that splint burns more vigorously when it brought near the oxygen gas. So here you can see that water through which electric current is passed that has split the components of water into two, that is the hydrogen and oxygen, and these two forms the gases, and these click or get attached with the two electrodes. So student, this is the electrolysis. This is called the electrolysis, means breaking of the water into its two components, that is called the electrolysis. Now student, next come about the electroplating. Student, let's talk about the electroplating. Electroplating is a common application of electrolysis. Electroplating also works on the principle of electrolysis, which just now I have explained you, that is the breaking. So electroplating is a common application of the electrolysis, the process of deposition of thin layer. Suppose that in electroplating, suppose this is a metal, and I want that its layer to be deposited on this metal. So we put both the this electrode in a form of electrode in a chemical, in a liquid, and electric current will be passed through it. Then layer by layer, the upper outer layer of this electrode get attached, and a layer will form, of a thin film will form on the outer surface of this electrode. So the removing of the one layer of this electrode and depositing on the other layer, this is called electroplating. So student, electroplating, I told you about electroplating. So electroplating is a common application of the electrolysis. Electroplating is a common application of the electrolysis, means breaking, the process of depositing a thin layer of a metal on any conducting substance by means of this electricity is known as electroplating. Means depositing a layer of one metal over other metal by the process of electrolysis, by passing electric current through it. This method is called the electroplating. So, in electroplating, the object to be electroplated is made the cathode, that means negative terminal, attached with the negative terminals, means the metal on which we want the deposition, that metal should be attached with the cathode, means negative terminal at the cathode. In the electroplating, the object of the object to be electroplated is made the cathode, that is negative electrode, by connecting with the negative terminal of the battery, and the metal of which the deposition from which the layer is taken to deposit on other object. So that is to be made the anode, that is connected with the positive terminal. Okay, student. So as soon as the moment the current will start flowing, slowly from the anode side, slowly the layer of its outer surface get detached, and next that detached upper layer will get attached with the on the layer of the cathode, and this thin film of has been just covered on the electrode which is attached in the cathode portion, and this way of plating of one metal on other is called electroplating. Just for example, student, suppose take two copper plate and clean them well with the sandpaper and rinse them in water and dry it. First, wash it and dry it. Put them in a beaker containing 250 ml of diluted water. Now, put these two copper plate in a distilled water and add a teaspoonful of copper sulfate and a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid in it, so that it will, after adding the acid and copper sulfate, now the distilled water will behave like a conductor. Connect the copper plate of the terminals of a battery and allow the current to pass for about 15 minutes. Now remove the electrodes from the solution and look them carefully. Copper sulfate dissociates with the copper and sulfate when electric current passes. And as soon as the electric current passes, this copper sulfate solution will break and copper will be separated with the sulfate. Okay, passes through the copper sulfate solution. The free copper, now the copper that has been broken, this free copper get drawn to the electrode. It get attached to the electrode to the negative terminal of the battery, and the other sulfate will get detached with the positive terminal. Now replace the copper sulfate by the clean metal. So what you have seen that here, how when the current is passed, how the electroplating, or you can say electrolysis of copper and sulfate has taken place. If suppose that you want to deposit a thin film of copper on suppose a iron nail, you just dip the copper, make the copper attached to the cathode, and you can say make the copper to be attached with the anode, and the key on which you want the deposition, make it attached with the cathode, that is means minus charge. So what will happen when the electric current electrons start flowing? The layer of that copper plate that has been connected with the anode, that means the positive terminal, a thin layer starts removing from that portion and get you can say get covered on the key upper surface. So like this way, the copper plate, the, the layer of a thin copper plate is transferred and just deposited on the key, an iron key, and a key which is made of iron. This type of deposition is done by the method of electroplating. Next to it, there are two main reasons of electroplating object. What are the why people do electroplating? Electroplating is done to increase the life of that object. That object might not get rusting or might not get spoiled due to any chemical effects. So electroplating is the process of to save the that object from getting damaged due to what you can say moist weather, or due to some other reasons it might not get spoiled. So electroplating is done to increase the life, as well as sometimes it has also been done to increase the value of that object. Okay, student. Now, application of electroplating, where you can see as a practical example, so where you can see the examples of chemical, we can say electroplating. So, student, when you purchase a new bicycle, you will see a nickel coating on its handle and on its different parts, just like on the spoke, on the wheel spoke, signing. Okay, when it is new. After few days, some months after, you will see that rusting has been taken place. So okay, rusting has been taken place. So as because why, student? At the time when there was a plating, there was no rusting, but as soon as the time passed, the coating of nickel get washed away, removed away from the upper layer, and now the iron became open, exposed to that such type of environment on which the moisture could easily be cast. So in that case, electroplating is done so that to make the life of that you can say articles or substances increase furthermore. Okay, now in that case electroplating is done. Next is that suppose chromium plating, tin in some cases chromium plating is done, just like bath tap, car bumper, bicycle handles. These are coated by a chromium, that is called chromium plating. Tin cans are made up of electroplating tin into iron. So from it is tin can is also prepared from on above the iron. There is a tin coating is done to keeping it safe from getting rusting. Next is that silver plating. there are some equipments that has in which the plating of silver is done, and when you will do silver plating, automatically the cost will increase as because you have coated it with a such thing that is already expensive in the market. So when such thing that is being coated over a certain thing, automatically its value get increases. So student, today I have completed explaining this chapter of the chemical effect of electric current. So listen the lecture video carefully and try to clear your concepts, student. Thank you. Have a nice day, student.